This is Amud Yomi Gemara Shabbos Daf Tes Amud Beis. We pick it up on the top of Tes Amud Beis, the Mishnah, and in truth, we begin the second part of Masechah Shabbos. The first 8 daf dealt extensively with the halachos of Hoitzah. Now we segue more into other areas, and most particularly, we begin with Erev Shabbos. Says the Heilige Mishnah Leishiv Adam V'nei Sabar. Samach lemincha ad sheyis palel. The Mishnah beginning with halacha, which really isn't perfectly related to Masechah Shabbos, but rather really a halacha regarding any mincha. That before one davens mincha, samach lemincha ad sheyis palel till he davens, one is not allowed to do what? Sit and get a haircut. Now, what does word samach lamincha mean? As we'll see, the pashtus is it's going to refer to within a half hour of mincha. Why? Says Rashi in the second line, we're worried that he might forget and not daven. Person can enter a bathhouse or tannery, he cannot begin to eat, can't begin a court case. But if he started any of these cases, in mafsikin, then you do not have to stop. Now, what does this mean? This means the pashtus is only if he began in an amount of time that he would have been able to finish, and for whatever reason, he wasn't able to finish. That's the pashut shad over here. No, let me say better. Only if he could still say mincha later. Again, within a half hour of mincha, you shouldn't start these activities, but you did. Now, then you're allowed to continue, provided that you're going to be able to say mincha afterwards. Look at Rashi. Rashi says, and then you daven afterwards. So clearly Rashi is talking about, as he quotes the Gemara in Daf Yod, you can have time to finish it before the Zman. Now, Taisus might argue on this, but let's continue. Says the Mishnah, you have to stop to say Shema, but you do not have to stop for Tefillah. What's the difference? Says Rashi clearly, Kriya Shema is a din d'oraisa, Tefillah is a din d'Rabbanan. Says the Heilige Gemara, which mincha are we talking about? We know we have something called mincha ketana, we have something called mincha gedayla, and therefore the basic question is, what's going on over here? Says the Gemara, hey, samach lemincha. When the Mishnah said close to mincha, what is going on? Why are you not allowed to begin? Mincha gedayla is earlier on in the day, and therefore you have plenty of time in the day. So what's the big deal? Rather, says there must be mincha ketana. What's the obvious question? The Mishnah continued and said that if you're maschil, ain't mafsikin. Why? Because you have time to finish it. Says the Gemara, name it after you have to Rav Shimon Levi. Say kasha Rav Shimon Levi, then Rav Shimon Levi kivi shegia zaman tfilas mincha. Also, ladim shiyatayim klum. Why not? Because he's out tfilas mincha. So Rav Shimon Levi clearly is learning that once you have mincha ketana, even if you began a meal, you have to stop. But our Mishnah said that if you began doing any of these forbidden activities, then you're allowed to continue. So seemingly the Mishnah has a kasha on Rav Yeshua ben Levi. Answers the Gemara, loy, no kasha. Loylam samach lemincha gedayla. Really, we're talking about near mincha gedayla. If it's near mincha gedayla, what was the kasha? The kasha is, and you have so much time in the day. What is the big deal? So says the Gemara about 15 lines down. The first line is loy b'tispires ben alasa. We're not talking about a stam 5, 10, 15-minute haircut. We're talking about a haircut like Ben El Yasa. What is the haircut of Ben El Yasa? El Yasha says Rashi, he was a chasanai shel Rebbe Haya upizer ma'is lilmai tispayi shel kohen gadol, and he learned the wonderful way that a haircut was given to a kohen gadol. Sheyemisaper kol reishev legamri elamaniach kol aseiris ksas the reish shel zeh besadi karish shel zeh. The end of one year reached the beginning of the next year, and this would take a long time. That's the point. Exactly the type of haircut. I don't know if anyone knows precisely, but the point is a long haircut. So the Mishnah says you can't go into a bathhouse. It means the whole process doesn't mean a quick rinse down It means, says Rashi, you wash your hair, you wash your body, hot water and then cold water. Then you go for the steam bath, the schwitz, the whole process. V'lo Liborsky, and what does it mean, Liborsky? Liborsky Gedaila. Again, beginning of the tanning process takes a lot of time. V'lo Lechol. What does it mean you're not allowed to eat? Psuda Gedaila. V'lo Din is betchilas din. It means the beginning of the korkit. So as Gemara is explaining that when the Mishnah said all these things are aser, it's mincha gedaila, which is very early in the day. So why are all these things aser? Answers the Gemara, the only aser, the larger forms of them. Not a stam haircut, not a stam meal, not a stam shower. Meaning when these things are going to take a long and lengthy amount of time. Rav Acha bar Yaakov Aimer, a second teretz, respect him. The first line is Acha, Lailam b'tispayres di done with a regular haircut. L'chatchila ma'ilo yeshiv. So why can't you take a regular haircut if it's mincha gedayla and you have so much time? Gezerah shem yishaver azog. You know what might happen? The scissors might break. What happens if the scissors break? It's going to take time till you get the scissors, and then you might miss mincha. Says the Gemara, which would seemingly imply that, let's say a barber has a backup pair of scissors. It would seem like it's not a problem. Not the steam bath. You might become, after a nice long shower, you become faint, and you're going to have to lie down. You're not going to be able to daven. What does it mean? It's time to look at the heights. Because what happens when you go to, check out the stock? You might see that, there's a problem. And then you're going to be preoccupied. You can't begin to eat. We know what happens. You sit down to a little snack. Before you know it, it's a 6-course meal. Because the Maisa, even though the din seems like it's about to be finished, nope. You see something and it prolongs the din Torah. So says the Gemara that really it's coming out a big chiddush. You're starting all these things very much in advance of the Zman Mincha. So why are you not allowed to do them? Because there's always this concern that things take much longer than one anticipates. And we finish off with the Gemara saying that what happened if you started? You messed up, you started. Do you have to stop? We said you have to stop, for Shema, but not for Tefillah. Says the Gemara, what does it mean start? What is the start of a haircut? When the barber puts his cloth in your lap, when he puts the apron on you, that's the beginning of the haircut. When you get undressed, you tie your sleeves up. I guess that's what they used to do so that you didn't get all dirty in the tannery. Next one, you wash your hands. You loosen up your belt. You need a little bit extra room. That is the beginning of the Suda. Says the Gemara, these last two shitas, v'loy pligi, Halan, Rav Chanina, talking about in Bavel, they used to open up their belt before they ate. Who Rav was talking about Eretz Yisrael, where they didn't open up their belt. And this has to do with the fact that in Eretz Yisrael, they would tie their belts a little bit looser. In Bavel, they would tie a little bit tighter, etc., etc. Says the Gemara, just a first cousin of loosening your belt for a Suda, one slight sidebar. Amar Rabbi, Hani Chavrei Babaloi, my friends in Bavel. According to those that hold that Ma'ariv is a Rishos, Kivu the Shari Lehamne, once you open up your belt, we don't trouble them to stop eating. Ma'ariv is only a Rishos. You can finish your Suda. Says the Gemara, 1 second. And the Lamad Amar Chaybim is Archina Lu. But 1 second, that's a direct steer to our Mishnah. Everyone knows the Guliyam Chiyuvoy. Utanani at the Mishnah and Nutchilin Mafsikin. And you're telling me Ma'ariv to Chayvit and be different? Says the Gemara on the top of Yudam and Aleph. Hasam in our Mishnah. When you sit down to a meal in the middle of the day, you don't get drunk. But what's Abaya talking about? A good night, a good dinner. A dinner. Listen, it happens. Shchicha, shechras, and that's the reason why we're a little bit more violent. Hinami, a second teretz. Bemincha, kim de kvile zimna. Mincha is a set time. Therefore, mirsas of loy asi lemivsha. Therefore, for mincha, we're worried that you might miss mincha, but arvis, tim the kuliyel man arvis, no, lo mirsas vasi lemivsha. Masler of Shesha is terusa lemesa armene. Says of Shesha, I don't get this whole thing. What's the big deal? So you undid your belt, so put it back on and daven. Who cares? Let him get up. Leave your belt off. Who cares? And go daven. Misham shenemar. And with this we conclude. He couldn't likras al kechi yisrael. You got to prepare yourself to daven. This is an incredible mikar of hikoin. The one has to be careful that extra milos in tefillah. This is where the Mishnah Berurah says that it's a milsa de chisidusa to wear a gartel, whether that is relevant nowadays or not. But says the Gemara, no, there is a level of preparation that is necessary for davening. We'll stop over here. B'siyata dishmaya.